Hello people of the web and welcome back to another showcase video. This time I'm going to show off my base. So with any luck I might be able to find my way around. The Skybase is definitely the most prominent part of the base and fairly unique. However, it's not where it all started. You see, when we started this new map there were a few different ideas that Hushbug and I had. One of which was to be near a deep ocean. Another one was to have a mushroom island. And another one was to have a guardian farm. And while exploring, I managed to find an area that had all of the above, even if it's not loading in particularly well. Because this is actually a mushroom island, and on Vanilla High, we have amplified terrain. So, it used to all be very tall and go basically up to the build limit. So, this hill up here isn't even the height that the mountain used to go up to. That's probably more like it. And all of the stuff we built in, which I was hoping to show over that ledge, down there, was that tall. And it's just been cut down section by section and then landscaped to turn an amplified map into a more reasonable one. And because this was all amplified, what we did first was kind of cut down this small section here, so it was level, and built a temporary base so that we could work on digging down that hillside and the Skybase and the Guardian Farm from a fairly small but easy to flatten area. And then lots of things sprouted up over time, including a sugarcane farm. Which, I think, it has some sugarcane in it. Being on a multiplayer server, last map we built a much smaller, ideally more efficient Guardian Farm. However, with the number of people online, we rarely got a decent amount of drops. So this time, I made it the full spawnable space for a Guardian Farm. And we get a few drops, to say the least. We can head inside. However, there is no front door. We need to go via the nether. Should be over there. Our nether hub isn't particularly exciting, but it does allow us to get around everywhere. So that's the little mushroom island. That would be the Guardian Farm. And that's the Skybase. And then we've got a few tunnels leading off to different projects. But Guardian Farm first. So we go through here. And now we're in the Guardian Farm, which even now, and I should have got used to this, it impresses me. I love this place. Hushbug did all the designs for the wall. I worked on the farm, which produces a good number of drops, although with the amount of people on at the moment, I think the mob cap might have been reached and we're not getting a huge amount of spawns, but then again, I do see guardians. The server is definitely struggling right now. See how slowly things are going? Yeah, so don't expect impressive rates right now. Now in the corners we have two little fish tanks. I think this one's got a couple of guardians in it. Yeah, so they're named and they're a bit of a nightmare to put in there, but they're in there successfully. And then in this corner over here we should have some fishies, I think. Fish! See? Best get out of here and close the gate before any of them try swimming out. But this tends to produce a reasonable amount of drops and an easy Guardian Farm for XP. With a lot of drops that all get sorted out in this wall over here. So the drops end up in these chests, of which we've always got plenty of things. In fact, it's nearly backed up. And an occasional fish and ink sacs. Wow, that word escaped me. And of course, when you're farming stuff, you get some stuff in your inventory. You just throw it in here, it sorts out. And then alternatively, on this side, we have a little silo for each of the blocks. So sea lanterns, dark prismarine, prismarine brick, and regular prismarine. Input chest. I don't think I've actually put many things in here. I don't tend to craft prismarine bricks and prismarine stuff unless I need it. I'm pretty proud of this build, but plenty more to show you. Moving on. And now we're on to the builds on the island. I suppose we might as well go from the coastline here. This is my flower farm. Pretty basic and simple. However, I really like that. That's my favourite bit of it. Oh, and the bees, which I stole from Avelina, who's a fellow member of the server, and I saw her design for that in the previous map and had to copy it. Kelp farm. Chorus fruit. Cactus farm. And that's pretty much it for farms in this bit. Oh! No, that's a silo. You see, it's been so long since I was on this server, I'm starting to forget what farms I built here. It's not a farm. It's just a silo of stone. And of course, I built this before the masons were able to buy stone. And now that masons do, I mean, each one of those lights is a double chest and a hopper full of stone. And I know that I've got shulker boxes at the main base as well. So we have enough that we could be trading for a while. And then over here is a very cute little stable, which I originally built in an Xbox world a long time ago, and felt a bit of nostalgia, rebuilt it here on the Vanilla High server. Oh, and a nano farm. Now behind the stables we have this little lake, which wasn't here originally, it's man-made. There was a bit of a puddle, I think, in this section here, but I made it much deeper. Don't fall in the hole. And there should be some fishes, which were all named on a live stream. I think it was the first live stream I did from this server. Oh, rain. Perfect. Now, because we're on multiplayer server, I don't get a lot of gunpowder from my mob farm, and I'm barely reliant on using my trident to fly around, which is handy, because it's often raining, because the night is rarely slept away. Ooh, yep, performance isn't doing too well at the moment. Now this is a completely separate project that Hushbug started, where she decided to build a kind of jungle fort. Hushbug started this project just because she fancied it, and it kind of inspired me to do my own little island of something. So she built that, and I built this. As you can see, a very impressive large build of not very much. Oh, and there. Little house, see, with a bed and food. What more could one need, except for a basement that was not entirely hidden when we walked through the door. So we go down here. Little elevator. Water bubble elevator, whatever these are called. And a tunnel. This actually extends all the way to Hushbug's Island, and has a few displays, including an upside down sheep. Hi, Grum. And over here was the first time I ever built something with terracotta. Turned out quite well, I think. Suppose we could even turn off the lights. Oh yep, things spawn. Now the reason we needed this as an XP farm was because for a while after 1.15 released, we were having issues with spawns for the Guardian farm. Those type of spawns were just turned off for performance reasons. And Hushbug and I were both doing a lot of digging on the mountain, and so 2 XP farms is kind of useful. So we have this, and then we have another one for skeletons. Now while this tunnel starts out strong and I did some decorating, I didn't go the whole length of it because, well, it's a fairly long tunnel. And the plan was for me to do some and Hushbug to do some, and we'd meet in the middle. She got as far as the bottom of her stairs. Aha! Portal. Back to the hub. While it's tempting to go to the Skybase, I think we should do everything else first, and we can do the Skybase last. Skeleton farm. So we have a dark room. Skeletons spawn, drop into the water system, floating on here, zip up, across, down. XP farm. Nice and simple. And I like the fact we can turn it off. Then we have a few other things in here. So this is the output for the skeleton stuff. So bones, arrows, and armour stroke bows all end up in these chests. Wow, I've actually done a good job of keeping up with that. Now, string is not something you'd expect to get from skeletons. However, if you're standing in this area, it just so happens that there's a little cave spider spawner over that way. In fact, yeah. Down there, where cave spiders can die, and then we get an extra bit of bonus stuff while we're in the area. So I figured I might as well turn that into a farm. Then we have the library with plenty of storage for books. Now each of these slices has, I think it's a double chest per layer, except the bottom one. So it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 chests worth of a book, at least space for. So I don't have that many books in here now, because it's the sort of thing that I originally had a good number from AFK fishing, and then whenever people have needed books, I've been willing to sell them. And yes, Elixir of Life is not in Minecraft. However, that was so that we could add new books if they became available, which technically they have since I built this place, and I haven't renamed the signs. Oh, and of course, if we go through the portal, but not through the portal, we have a sugarcane farm. This is very similar to the one built on the island, but much, much taller. And it produces some sugarcane. Plus, this room looks gorgeous. This was done by Evelina, who I commissioned for a project. I said, can you come over and make it look pretty? Because I don't know what to do. And she did a fantastic job. Aha, the sheep farm. Now this was originally built before you could automatically shear sheep with a dispenser. Is it a dispenser that uses shears? Yeah, of course. A dropper wouldn't make sense. And so this has got a clock underneath where it would spit out shears periodically, lock the hopper underneath, and you could shear them, and then it just flushes them round in a circle. So if we open up this door. Hi, Steve. Steve used to be bigger, and then he got cut into smaller pieces. These sheep get pushed along here and into that elevator, up and along. We might have lost a couple, which is why they're not pushing each other around so quickly. But it still works, and you can AFK just with right-click held down. Shearing sheep, earning wool. Which is why we have a reasonable amount of wool in here. But now, with the auto shearer, we can just put shears in here and then turn on the clock. Yeah. So we end up with plenty of wool, and I know that since I was last in here, I've had friends come by and borrow some. But I have more than I will ever need. And if I need more, I can just turn the thing back on. Still works nicely. Now the reason I built this here is because this spot is a perfect place to run 2 cave spider spawners. One, I think it's just beyond this part of the wall here, going that way, and one over here going that way. There we? Yep, there's a cave spider spawner. So we get a few bits of string that come up into these chests while we happen to be shearing sheep. The next thing in here, I haven't really got a good reason for why it's in here. I just needed a space for my paper silo, so I built it here. And if we go up this stairway, we can go to the balcony. These are mostly librarians, and was planning on having another level with more of them. However, these give me most of the protections that I need, and of course I can trade paper for emeralds. So, little trading hall, which is fed by a villager breeder I've got up top. Speaking of up top, this way. If we go up here, you'll find a boat, a very big boat, with, if you haven't followed the series, a fairly big sheep. Just to indicate that's where the sheep farm is, in case you weren't aware. He's named Kashmir. Just realised I don't need to use my rockets. Riptide. Now over here we have our villager breeder. So these guys will breed. Children will run off and end up in these streams and get washed to where that trading hall is. I suppose you might as well go back home, which should be this direction. Aha! The Skybase. Found it. Have to ignore the fact that it's raining. But I can still show you the basis for this Skybase. Now, this big square here is a large mob farm. Basically, this is the design of the Frugal Flusher, which is a tutorial I recently released on YouTube. In fact, if I remember, I'll put a link in the description. And it's all fed by a single source block of water. Normally, of course, I respawn in here, so I don't have to do this, but there's a door on the side, and I don't know if I can hit it, so come this way. This is my bedroom, isn't it? Nice. Very basic. I've never cared too much about bedrooms. Redstone. Mob flusher. Where they all get flushed out and down to the hoppers down here. Some drops. Not a huge amount, but I try and keep on top of emptying it. As I'm sure you'll notice, there is not just one iron farm, but 8. And they're all spaced out far enough away from each other they don't interfere. This was cranking out a lot of iron before the 1.14 update. Now, the 1.14 update meant that these farms no longer work, and the villagers have since been removed for lag reasons. But I got enough out of them in the way of iron and diamonds by selling the iron to other members of the server that they were certainly worth building. And they look pretty epic. And of course, with the drops from the mob farm and the iron farms, we've got most of the stuff we need. This happens to be my storage area, with a design that I've used a couple times now. Actually, I think I've built this same storage room 3 times on 3 different maps. It works very well, and it's a Tango Text design, where basically everything is within reach. And there's so many slots that I could put things into that I haven't even used all of these slots. And that's after building the entire base. This is storing everything. Bulk storage is here. So basically, if anything's full here, like dirt, any excess will go over to the bulk storage for dirt, which is down here. And it fills up this chest and this shulker first. Now, if it starts backing up, all we have to do is manually remove the shulker. Then we have these full shulkers, and I'll put a new one down here. I was just starting to think that I've shown you everything, then I remembered that there's that thing. That odd shaped thing at the bottom of the ocean with glass on top of it. That happens to be my slime farm, which I'm rather proud of. Right, we can go down here. Ouch, my legs. Of course, normally you just drop into this puddle. I failed to do that. This is 3 chunks of slime farm. And I love how this turned out. Oh, and even better than that, of course, is my office. My office with the mirror. And I know mirrors aren't a thing in Minecraft normally, unless you have RTX, I suppose. You could do it then now. But to get this effect, I basically had to build the whole thing in reverse. Yeah. You build something once, and then you build it again to do the mirror. Of course, it wasn't worth building the whole thing, because from back in that office, you can't see this bit of stone. You could see that wall, and fair way up the wall. Totally worth it. And when people come and visit and see things like that, they tend to stare and go, wait, how do you do that? Oh, and because I like throwing farms in at other places, pumpkin and melon farm just tucked onto the side of my slime farm. Because I needed one. And a shulker box loader for pumpkins. Wow. Maybe I should be trading some of those away. It's alright, I don't need the emeralds. Now, because it's been a good 6 months since I last recorded on this server, I am flying around, keep forgetting and remembering where things are. So this would be the top of that sugarcane farm that goes down to where the skeleton farm is. An ice tray, because that's quite handy. And that looks a bit odd. That's better. My duck. Because who doesn't love a giant rubber duck? And now we're back to where we started. Bit of a shorter showcase video today, but if you want to see more details of anything that you've seen, well, I did a whole series building this stuff. Go check it out. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, subscribe for more content, and hope to see you again next time. Bye bye now.